A lot of times people compare Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Peter Obi in terms of governance. The both of them were two-time governor of their individual state, Lagos State and Anambra State, respectively. But I don't think that comparison is needed. You can't compare Peter Obi and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The both of them are two different persons in their two different field of endeavor, and one edges the other. Kenneth Okonkwo here give us the reason why one is better than the other. Why you can't compare one to the other in terms of leadership quality, because when you want to compare these two people together, you need to put a lot of criteria into place. You need to put the environment, the setting, their style of leadership. I want you to listen to this interview. I'm going to be back at the end of this interview to dissect what Kenneth Okonkwo has said so far. Please ensure you like, subscribe, and drop your comment reaction in the comment box. I'm going to see you at the end of the video.
You think Peter Obi is better than what we're having today?
An inspiring leader.
There are those who believe that Peter Obi does not even measure up.
He was there in Anambra State.
Those who will say you cannot compare Anambra and Lagos State, if that is the indice.
Good. You can compare the policies. You can compare the environment. When Peter Obi came into Anambra State, Anambra was coming last in education. The governor of Anambra State, the former governor, Chinwoke Mbadunuju, was the only governor that PDP did not allow to return for the second time. Only. So you can imagine the level of debt that Anambra State was suffering. People were massacred on the street, including the chairman of MBA. Security was terrible. Infrastructure was comatose. Education was appalling. Peter Obi came in, turned the whole situation. Within 2 years, 3 years, Anambra was coming first. Medical facilities, golden. Infrastructure, superb. He changed it from consumption to production. That even some of his opponents that don't know what they say, they're accusing him that he invested Anambra State money in some companies that are yielding something for Anambra State today. He met nothing in Anambra State. He saved so much that the subsequent governor used part of it to build an international airport, by his own confession. You don't compare gold with carrots.
Is that what you say between Peter Obi and Bola Tinubu? That those who say Anambra does not measure up. You can't measure Anambra and Lagos State at every standard.
You know, when you want to judge a man, you judge him by his antecedents. You know what happened in Lagos? A Miloko philosophy is familitocracy. Have you ever seen Peter Obi receive any land in Anambra State? They rejected every land, including the one he's entitled to. Go to Lagos State. You know better than myself. Some people describe the owners of Lagos as the largest landowners in the whole of West Africa. Go to Lagos. The same dynasty has been ruling from 1999. Wife, senator, daughter, Yagbegbe, son. Even in as the leader of Nigeria, the same pattern.
With you
The
say,
wife
are you accusing of this?
is enjoying.
Are you accusing this
Before
girl?
you put words into my mouth, I'm not placing anybody in the dock. Nobody is an accused.
I mean, you're making allegations of nepotism. That's
It's
what
not
you.
allegations. The facts are there.
That this government is nepotistic.
Something worse than nepotistic.
Is that fair to say?
Familitocracy. You know what it means when you place your children in order of protocol before ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? What do you call that? What do you call that? I saw. What is that? You know what it means when you put your wife at par with the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in terms of manpower, in terms of security? Have you seen a Michelle Obama being involved in the political process of America? Let me tell you, I thought Buhari's regime was going to be the worst. In 9 months, this government has surpassed it. Let me tell you, this government started from the man himself. to the wife, to the sons, using the private jet to attend parties, desecrating the hallowed chamber of leadership. Talk about the daughters, talk about the sons-in-laws, the daughters-in-law. Then when you go to the daughters and sons of friends, what do you call that? What leadership system is that? It's a country that has 6 geopolitical zones. And you're just appointing only the people from that your little clique. And you're expecting loyalty.
This government, Mr. Okonkwo, said, look, we're making some policies. They might be painful in the moment, but it's going to be like the pangs of childbearing. In the end, it's going to be some joy. Are you hopeful of the possibility that this process is just momentary? At the end of the day, there's light at the end of the tunnel in all of these policies that this government is putting in place.
If your wife is pregnant, and after the pangs of childbirth, she gave birth to a monster, would you rejoice? All their policies have been giving birth to monsters, not children. You told us fuel subsidy is gone. And after punishing the people, the fuel subsidy is remaining. What have you given birth to? Monster. You told us you're unifying the dual foreign exchange. And after a while, Naira has become worthless. Even less valid than the safer. And you again, you're telling us, no, that's not the true reflection of the value of Naira. And you are the one who voluntarily devalued the Naira to that level. Is that childbirth? No. That is a monster. You told us that you're imposing sanctions on Niger Republic so that they would go back to democracy. Have they gone to democracy? You lifted the sanction. What have you achieved? You punished the 8 states of the north from Kebbi to Sokoto to Zamfara to Jigawa to Katsina to Yobe to Borno. You brought all of them, punished them immensely, and after 8 months without achieving anything. Is that childbirth? No. Childbirth is that you gave birth to something new. When thesis and antithesis meet, they give birth to synthesis. That is something new. Childbirth. Not when you finish punishing the people and you go back to a situation that is worse than they were when you started the policy. That is monster. So this government, sorry, the pangs of childbirth have been a punishment. You're telling people to be patient. And you're wearing a watch worth of millions while you're telling people to be patient. Is that childbirth? You're telling people to be patient. You say you want to, implement or sign a report. And you have 48 ministers. Even Murtala Mohammed, when he became head of state, the first thing he did was to purge himself. To say, look, this is not right. I'll start with myself. If you want to implement such things like Orosanya, start with yourself. Orosanya is about cutting the cost of governance. So where is the childbirth in this? No, it's not childbirth. It is monster. I can tell you, with all the pains in a woman, if she gives birth and she discovers she has given birth to a monster, she herself will run away. Nigerians are running away from these so-called policies because they are simply punishing the people for nothing. 2,000 naira for $1, and you say it's a childbirth. No, it's a monster.
Just like he said, you cannot compare goat and carrot. There is a huge gulf between Peter Obi and Tinubu. Both of them were governors in their prime. Now, during their time as governors, Peter Obi edged out Tinubu. Lagos was a functional state, a state with many federal government presence, one-time capital of Nigeria. Tinubu met an already functional state with a functional system left by Jakonde. That wasn't the case for Peter Obi, who met an Anambra state that was dead. There was nothing functional in Anambra state. Dead infrastructure, the government house and the House of Assembly complex were burnt during the Mbajinidu regime. debt educational system. Schools in Anambra State were closed down for 2 years during Bajindu regime. People were not going to school. Anambra State was last in terms of education. Insecurity was worse. There was constant robberies on the streets of Anambra, killings unstopped. Even a sitting governor was kidnapped. That was how terrible the state was. P2B came on board and revitalized the state, revamped the educational sector. Anambra State moved from last and became first in education. Till date, that legacy can't be erased. Health sector boom. Security improved. Kidnappers ran away from Anambra State. In fact, Evans the kidnapper was operating in Anambra State as of then, but during the P2B regime, he ran away because he said he could not contain the hits that the security agencies were giving him. He ran away to Lagos. The IG of police then declared Anambra State the safest in Nigeria. All through Obi regime, there was no bank robbery in Anambra State, something that was a recurring event in Anambra State. People always say Tinubu increased the IGR of Lagos State. IGR is not a measure of good leadership. IGR is a means of generating revenue. What Tinubu did was to improve tax collection in Lagos State. Everyone in Lagos were taxed to their teeth. IGR does not improve the welfare of the people. P2B focus on HDI, the Human Development Indices, which is the measure of development. This comprises improving education, health sector, security, and a reduction in poverty. P2B excelled in all of this. Won Brigade Award in health, was the first to begin poverty mapping, the only governor to implement SDI, the Sustainable Development Goals. Come on, you can't really compare the both of them. Now, there is the argument that Tinubu has raised men in politics, unlike Peter Obi. That is absolutely true. Now, the problem in our society today is the proliferation of career politicians in our politics. People who have no major source of income aside being in politics. That is what has destroyed our politics, because they go into politics with the hope of survival. And that is why there's a lot of looting in politics. Tinubu is a career politician whose long-time goal is to raise politicians like himself who will be loyal to him. He started the godfatherism in Lagos State and legitimized it. Gave lands belonging to Lagosians to politicians in the opposition just to buy them to himself. He built men in politics and not the people. P2B is a businessman and a politician. He has a different ideology in politics. P2B stopped godfatherism in Anambra State. The people he used as commissioners were professionals who went back to their various professional skills after P2B's regime. He insisted and invested on the people. The gap between Peter Obi and Tinubu was shown during the last election. Tinubu, with all his magic in raising people, lost his state, Lagos, to Peter Obi. That is strange. It's strange. Lagos belongs to Tinubu, and there's a lot of narrative that has been going out there that Tinubu tamed the ocean in Lagos, that Tinubu built Lagos. How can you build Lagos, the place you built, and during the election the people did not vote for you? Despite all the intimidation, there was a lot of intimidation during the last election. People were asked not to vote for P2B. People were beaten. People were killed. Jennifer, you remember Jennifer? She was stabbed in her eyes because she wanted to vote for Peter Obi. But despite that intimidation, Peter Obi won Lagos State. That is a shame to the Tinubu's Lagos you are all talking about. So there is a big difference between Peter Obi and Tinubu. Peter Obi is a people-centric leader. Tinubu cares about raising men, few men in power, and that is the problem we have in our country today. The dichotomy between the privileged few and the masses. That is why when it comes to the followership, you have a lot of young people that are yearning for Mr. Peter Obi, a lot of young people that are sacrificing their time, their energy, their resources for Peter Obi. The last election showed. You saw the campaign, grassroots mobilization. People went to the streets to campaign for Peter Obi with their own money. The Peter Obi campaign was driven by the people. You can't say that about about Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Bola Ahmed Tinubu ran his campaign with the state governors. The state governors represent the generality of the people? That was why to date, the election is still being contested. That Tinubu did not win that election. So there is a huge gulf between the both of them. One is a politician who cares about raising men that will serve him. One is a businessman and a politician that want to make a difference, and he is raising people. That is why today you have the obedience movement. Tinubu has been in politics since 1999. He has been a senator. Unlike Mr. Peter Obi, that came into politics, was a two-time governor, but today he has a movement called the Obedience Movement. Which movement does Bola Tinubu has? He doesn't have any movement. The only movement he has, the movement of governors who rig elections for him. Just like you have the case of Rivers State. Of course, a well-known case that Rivers State was rigged for Mr. Peter, for Bola Tinubu. That is the kind of leadership they're talking about. But Peter Obi is a different thing altogether. Thank you for watching. Ensure you like, subscribe, drop your comment reaction in the comment box. I'll see you in the next video.